What's up, everybody? How's it going? Hope you guys had a good holiday. Everything's been good for you. If you followed this channel before, you know that I run a dumpster rental business. This rig, I fortunately bought into this business at a much sooner time than some of you guys that are considering it now or got into it. When I bought this trailer, it was very cheap compared to what you guys are paying for it now. I think there's a lot of things that come into it. We can always say COVID, everything's more expensive now because of COVID, metal shortages, shipping issues, just logistic issues, and this is a trend. A lot of people are getting into this business. People see money in this business, at least in certain areas. Some of you guys might have found out the hard way that this isn't as easy as some people make it seem on YouTube, but anyway, I got into this at a good time. I bought my rig 2 years ago, so this is a 2-year review of the MAXXD setup. So as you can see, I have a Dodge 3500, rocking that with the 6.7, and then I've got the MAXXD with 14K axles, so two 7K axles. As you can see, this used to say MAXXD, the trailer used to say MAXXD, the dumpster, believe it or not, is Lone Star, and I'll get into that, why I love MAXXD so much. But I kind of debadged everything I could except for the reflectives because, you know, I don't want everybody in my neighborhood and town that might be considering this business to, you know, be using it. So I took all that off and put dumpster rentals up here. It was well worth it. But let's take a look at the actual trailer itself, and I'll tell you what I love about it. So first off, excuse, you know, how dirty it is. It finally is above freezing. As you can tell, all the salt is still on the road. Everything's melting. But the main thing I love about these is they're just durable. These MAXXD trailers and their dumpsters are all powder coated. I know a couple people personally that have the Lone Star versions of this. Essentially the same setup. There are differences, but the same rail system, and they're already rusting. They already have issues. I love this. This is 2 years old, and when it's all cleaned up, it looks pretty mint, and they just keep looking better and better year by year. The biggest things about this that are different from the newer ones, pretty much all of the new ones I believe come with the automatic tarp system. Now, as you can see, I still am doing it the old-fashioned way, wrapping it over the top. And they now come with 8,000 pound axles, so you have a total of 16. So this is 14, and for you guys that are running F350s or 3500s, you will find that if you end up with a 16K axles, you immediately are going to probably be in the CDL class. So that's something a lot of guys tend to overlook and then find themselves in a situation. Easiest thing to do to figure that out is you go over here, you look to see what your axle rating is, 14,000 pounds, and you go inside your door and you do the same thing. You look inside your door and you check to see what that is. So if you actually know anything about the Dodge 3500 heavy duty cabin chassis, it's also 14,000 pounds. So I am also in the CDL class, which is a whole nother conversation, but I did have to get a CDL for my setup. Back to the actual trailer itself. The hoist is incredible. I love this thing. Grease points are super easy to access. Knock on wood, I'll have to find some wood. I haven't had any issues with this. You've got this Warrior Samurai winch, which I believe is rated up to 18,000 pounds. It has been an absolute tank. Pretty much the only thing that I need to actually work on with this is I have seen a couple frayed cables. That's actually the original cable that came with this system, and I have been using it for 2 years. I have not broke it. If you watch some of my other videos, you will notice that I'm incredibly careful with my equipment. I take care of my stuff, and one of the things I do is when I have the chance, I will put my truck in reverse or neutral and let my truck back under really heavy loads. That way I'm not straining my cable and to the point that it's ready to snap. So one thing I love that also comes with this is, separate from like dump trailers, most of the time dump trailers don't have remote controls. And again, with this business, you can watch my previous videos talking about why I love the roll-off systems versus the just dump trailer businesses. There's so many reasons I prefer this business model more, and you can watch my videos to see about that. But one thing I love is this. I can be all walking around my trailer. I have another remote for the winch itself, so I can operate the trailer while I'm walking around the truck. The truck can be moving freely if I have it in neutral, and I don't have to worry about anything. You hear that? After 2 years, it's still running perfectly fine. My hydraulic levels are still at a good level. I really haven't had to mess with those too much. We'll go into the toolbox area. You'll see pretty much the only thing that I have actually broken on this is the charging cable. This will look different to most of you. See, I actually have a cable, and I kind of jimmy rigged it. Put a piece of wood right there to keep the cable sticking out. It's a little redneck, but it works because this is not what actually comes with this. I made a amateur mistake. One day this was plugged in. It'd been 2 days since I used it, and plug was over here. And let's just say I drove out over there and that box snapped. I snapped the prongs off of it, and I could no longer charge my battery. So, and I need to turn off my, this is actually operates your winch. So now my winch will not work. Now it will. Turn it off at night. These batteries are incredible. They actually come, or they came with mine, Interstate. I did replace one of them, and the nice thing about Interstate batteries, you take them in, they recharge them. So now I have a spare when I need it. My hydraulic pump, I could probably clean that up a little bit. I've got my wired remotes if I need them, but honestly, this thing has been very, very awesome. They're pretty easy to work on for those of you who do know things about them. And if you ever need to replace one, well, it's pretty much a drop and go system. So these things are just, I mean, they're just impressive. That have been in this business for a really long time, who will say, oh, those things can't lift a dumpster full of leaves. They can't do anything. I will tell you, I won't legally tell you how much I have hauled, but let's just say on my property, I filled one up pretty heavy once, and I know it was well over 7 tons. Shingles, I'm bringing in 5 tons of shingles all the time on these. And again, that, you know, you got to make sure you have the proper amount of tongue weight and everything, but these things can haul very well. They can load very well. Every time somebody sees me load something really heavy, they're incredibly impressed by these. So for anybody who, you'll see the guys who are like, oh, those things can't lift, you know, a thing of leaves or a thing of sticks, you know what? Stay within your lane, because obviously if you're running a semi with a hook lift and all that kind of stuff, of course it's going to lift much heavier. But if you're typically staying under 5 tons, you're within your truck's capability. These things are awesome. These things are going strong, and the guys who get into these love them. A lot of guys will argue they don't like them who've been in the industry a long time because they're not standard rail. Texas Pride makes standard rail systems. There's a couple others out there that also do. But here's the thing. Unless you're going to be using a hook lift truck in the future, I personally don't understand, and somebody can maybe type in the comments and tell me why I would want standard rail dumpsters on a trailer like this. What the purpose would be, especially if it's a cable driven system, because even if I wanted to upgrade later into a hook lift system, right? I would have to convert, because a hook lift picks up from up here. A cable picks up from down there. So if I got a standard rail truck later, I would still have to go have somebody fabricate a system or a set of, hook lifts points onto these dumpsters, even if I wanted to keep them. Plus the length might not work properly. There's so many things. So the thing I really like about these in particular is, like I said, this is a Lone Star dumpster. As you can see, it is Lone Star, but this is MAXXD. MAXXD works with several different brands now. MAXXD rails fit on MAXXD, Lone Star, PJ, and I believe Load Trail now too. And if I had to recommend a trailer, it's always going to be MAXXD. I know it's biased because I use one, but I've talked to a lot of guys around the country now that have run PJ and Lone Star, and they have issues. They have issues with the brakes. They have issues with the rust. They have issues with the frames being a little bit thinner. Everything on this thing is heavy duty. I would also probably recommend Load Trail, just from experience with having my flatbed trailer that you've seen my shipping containers on. You can go look at those videos too, but those, I would say the quality of those Load Trail dumpster or load trail trailers are right on par with the MAXXD. I don't even know if they're made in the same factory. You know how bicycles are like that. Sometimes they're made in the same factory and they slap a different logo on it. Sometimes I honestly wonder with MAXXD and load trail, because they're definitely taking notes on what each other are doing, and their quality is, I mean, next to perfect in my opinion. And you know, I'm not a huge trailer guy, but I do see a lot of guys getting to the PJs and Lone Stars and they're upset with them for this, that, or the other. And then another big company that a lot of guys use is Texas Pride. Texas Pride seems to make very heavy duty dumpster trailer systems, kind of like this one, but it seems like the biggest complaints are malfunction. Like they seem to malfunction more often, and they do seem to rust really bad after a couple of years. As you can see, after only 2 years, I really have no rust that is visible. And the only thing that I've actually changed is batteries. I did put new tires on here. Highly suggest 14-ply tires. Some of you guys comment on my video saying, oh, get some tread on those tires. These tires are less than like 2 months old. They just look a lot different than your typical 10-ply. I do have a 10-ply spare. I do like how the spare is up here and above, although I will tell you, when you're pretty tired, that can be an absolute pain to get off the top of there, especially when it's cold and you're exhausted, but it is what it is. Also, with these different dumpster systems, you'll see MAXXD dumpsters are welded. A cool thing is, if I want to make the Lone Stars work, they actually just use a bolt. So this bolt, you can get them in any different sizes from Farm and Home, Home Depot, whatever, and you can actually choose the size, because I know guys that have the Lone Star dumpsters, they actually hook on way higher up here, but then you just swap these out up here. So again, guys, this is just like a huge overview to say, other than this thing has just been really good to me. I know I'm going to regret it. I'm going to knock on some wood right now, but shout out to MAXXD. The quality of this thing is awesome. I recommend these things to guys all the time. Do your research though. If you're gonna like get really big into this and you really think you need to go get your CDL and get a hook lift truck, maybe this isn't the right setup for you. But if you're gonna stay in this trailer system, try to stay under CDL or just barely over CDL. You're not crossing state lines. Maybe you have your own landscaping business on top of it. These things they're just handy. I'm now up to about 8 dumpsters, and I'm running about 10 dumpsters, 8 to 12 dumpsters on average, typically a week. And this is December. Last year when I did this, it was kind of when I finally started to kind of pick it up. I think I only did 6 or 7 dumpsters in December. I just did 38 this last December. So that kind of gives you an idea of, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a massive semi with the hook lift and the whatever. You can make money with these rigs, and it's awesome. So again, highly suggest the MAXXD. I would recommend you reach out to a company called Sandcrest. A lot of you guys ask where I get my dumpsters, my trailers from. I've gotten this dumpster and trailer, or this trailer at least, came from Sandcrest in Billings, Missouri. Drop down in the comments if you want to know more about it. I'll give you a contact that you can reach out to over there. He's really awesome. I know guys who have traveled across the country to go get package deals from them. I don't know how they're doing it, but they tend to have significantly lower prices on these roll-off setups. The only difference is there's very thin margins for the dumpsters. So the cool thing is you've got 4 or 5 different brands to choose from with the dumpsters. Try to find them used from somebody who's getting out of the business or got into the business and found out it wasn't for them. Those are the dumpsters I'm going after now. I don't usually try to get them brand new anymore, but if you're gonna be just starting out, that's the place you really want to go for a package deal or just to get the trailer, because they seem to have just great prices on those. So drop in the comments if you want more information about Sandcrest in Billings, Missouri. It might be worth the drive. Like I said, I know guys who have made quite the trip to come get some trailers from there. So thanks for following. Like, subscribe, stay up to date. If you want to see more specifics on the actual operation of this, you can look back at my other videos. Maybe drop in the comments what you want to see me loading it, unloading it. Again, those are in my other videos, but maybe I can make a demonstration video sometime where I'm loading something really, really heavy or doing some gravel runs or something like that. So stay tuned. Oh, and one awesome thing with this is if you get into this business and you just want one trailer that does it all, look into these because they actually make flatbeds that roll onto here just like the dumpsters do, if you don't already know that. Super handy. I actually need one that goes the over deck, which this one doesn't. The flatbed actually stays within the wheel well. But I mean, for you guys that don't need to worry about, you know, super big tractors that are going to be sitting on your flatbed or shipping containers like I do, I mean, this trailer does it all. But like, subscribe, follow, stay tuned for the next video. Give me some content ideas. Drop them in the comments. I'm always looking for ideas. But again, guys, 2 years operating this, highly suggest it. MAXXD. I just got nothing to complain about. Have a good one all. See you next time.